What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sunny in the Belt podcast. This is episode number 5. My name is Jacob,
What's up, guys? I'm Jordan.
and happy to have y'all with us. For those of you who are watching, this is our 5th episode. We're going to recap our picks of the Sun Belt men's basketball games from this past Saturday night. We're going to give you our Thursday picks. Before we move on, please like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and give us a follow on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @sunnyinthebelt_. So let's kick it off. This past Saturday, we went 3-3 again, Jordan.
That's kind of just who we are, man. That's our MO. If you look at the overall records that we both have, I mean, we're 500, and I don't know. I'm hoping we can get something positive. I've only had one positive record so far at 4-2. So hoping this week turns out good. But overall, we did good. Just some teams didn't cover. Some teams, some games were close this past week. So it was a pretty solid week.
I'm hoping after this week's games, Thursday's games and Saturday's games, we end up pulling out on top and have a over 500 weekend. But for the most part, when you think about sports betting, there's a lot of degenerate gamblers out there who lose a lot.
Right. That's true.
And for us to be pretty much around 500, I think is pretty good so far.
Yeah, we've gotten juiced out a good bit, but other than that, we looking.
I think we got juiced out quite a bit, but we did take some money line picks. We've hit on some money line picks. So
I would say we're anywhere from breaking even right now to maybe down $20, which is not bad at all for considered a month worth of work.
And they've been, for the most part, they've been fun games to watch. You and I both agree. We feel like the Sun Belt Conference is underrated. We've seen teams from our conference go to the national tournament and upset bigger schools in the first round. We're a one bid league. Only team that makes it to the national tournament is the one who wins our conference tournament. But it's fun basketball. We've seen it week in and week out that anybody can beat anybody, right? We saw Little Rock get blown out last Thursday by South Alabama by 33 points. And then on Saturday, they match up with Troy as 12.5-point underdogs and win the game outright.
Yeah, we got to give a big shout out to Little Rock. You had them covering the spread at 12.5, but you are on the record saying that Troy is going to win this game. And here I am, saying Troy's going to win by over, 12 points. And Little Rock just out of nowhere. I mean, they looked dead and gone. This was a team that, just was not supposed to even come close to winning this game. And they end up covering the spread and winning the game outright. If you put
somebody out there took Little Rock money line.
Some Little Rock fan and, maybe the state of Louisiana placed a bet for Little Rock to win, and they got their money's worth. I'll tell you that much. So shout out to Little Rock. Great game. They deserved it. Kind of puts a little doubt in my mind, maybe about Troy. That was a game they should not have lost. So, but you're right. And at any given day in this conference, any team can beat anybody.
Yeah. So, regardless of talent that's on the team too, because we've got some teams that have loads of talent and don't have great records in our conference or lose close games. Right. We're a fan of one of those teams, that has a lot of talent and has just lost a lot of close ones.
And we'll talk about them later.
Yeah. All right. Kicking it off, or before we kick it off, this is where we're at since we started this podcast. We're heading into episode 5, and we're 11-12. We were joking before we started this podcast that maybe we'd be right at 500 if Coastal and UTA would have played that first time. In the game that got canceled because of the snow and the icy roads. But we're here at 11-12. For those of you out there just betting against one of us, you're up a game. Good for you. But for those of you betting with us, we're going to try to get it back on track, get in the positive, avoid the juice, and get it rocking and rolling. So first game on the slate, we got a 5:30 tip-off. Troy at App State. We got two teams that are vying for the conference championship regular season, right? If App State loses this game and drops to 10-5, Troy's at 9-4. And as we know, it comes down to win percentage in our conference to determine the champion and seeding, right? Because seeding gets really a lot more important. We're 2 weeks from the conference tournament. Got 2 weeks of basketball left. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, so this is a very good matchup on paper. You kind of have the two teams that are really pushing for that regular season championship. And you hate to say it, but that loss with Little Rock for Troy may come back to haunt them. They could easily be 9-3 right now, and with a win in this game, they could have taken over that App State for number one. Fortunately, that didn't work out. I have Troy +4 here, though, because I just feel like Troy is going to come out with sort of a little fire in their eye. I'm not saying they're exactly going to win this game, but I feel like they can easily cover that 4-point spread and maybe even push it. So I like Troy here. I feel like that the team that we saw them play against Little Rock is not the same Troy that we've known to come and love. That was just maybe, one of those games. App State is a good team. They're coming off a loss against Georgia State. Georgia State is definitely picking it up here as of late. So, can't really hurt them there, but they were the number one team. App State's been the number one team in the Sun Belt for a while. And they should have won that game as well, in my opinion. But I got Troy here at +4.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is going to be my game of the day for Thursday night. I think we're going to start it off hot. I'm also taking Troy +4. I am using the cushion of +4 just in case it's a close one and App pulls it out, but I could easily see Troy winning this game. I think App State has been exposed in the last couple of games. They lost to Georgia State, and they didn't exactly have the easiest time against Georgia Southern in that Thursday game. They're at 10-4. They're feeling the heat from the people from the other teams in the conference. And we've given Scott Cross, the head coach of Troy, a lot of praise, right? And I think after that loss to Little Rock on Saturday, he's definitely been on them this week, and they're looking to bounce back. And I think with that motivation alone, Troy is going to be able to cover and win with that 4-point cushion, whether they lose in a close one or pull it out outright. I'm also taking the Trojans +4. Go ahead and take this one, Jordan.
Yeah, we got Georgia Southern at Georgia State. Georgia State coming in at 9.5 point favorites. And, kind of looking at it, you might think that's a little bit too much. And it may be, 9.5 is a lot of points. And to be honest, I usually take the points when it's sort of a high number like this. But Georgia State is playing some good basketball right now, Jacob. They really are. We're starting to see them kind of come into fruition. We've sort of said it in the past, maybe 1 or 2 episodes. Look out for Georgia State. Look out for Georgia State. Georgia State is coming up, and there's a reason why they're 9.5 point favorites. The bookies don't just throw out these kind of numbers for no reason. I get the Troy, Little Rock, that's just one of those games. I have Georgia State covering this 9.5 points. I feel like they're just a better team than Georgia Southern, not only in the beginning, but right now when they are peaking, and they are peaking at the right time, to say the least. I feel like this game at Georgia State, a good home crowd going their way, the way they're playing basketball. It's a lot of points, but I see it happening. Give me Georgia State at 9.5.
Yeah, I'm also taking Georgia State -9.5. Georgia State's on a 3-game winning streak. Georgia Southern is on a 3-game losing streak, right? We've said it, I think, nearly every episode, right? We've talked about the history of Georgia State in our conference, about how good they are when they get to that conference tournament. And I think we've mentioned most, if not all of the episodes, or at least I have, that the closer Georgia State gets to March, the better they get, right? We've seen them climb. So they were 2-3. I mean, they were 2-5 in our conference before this 3-game winning streak. They went from being pretty much in last place. No, they were in last place. They were in last place in our conference at one point, and now they're sitting at 6th, right? 2 more wins could bring them into the top 4. Then they get that first round bye for the conference tournament. I think they're just playing really good basketball. Georgia Southern, just some games they play it really close and they're able to pull it out, or they just get beat straight up. You know, we both took Georgia Southern this past Saturday and they got whooped.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we thought they were going to play them close, but they didn't.
It was embarrassing that game. That was a tough way to kind of start the day, was that bad loss.
Yeah. But I agree with you. I think Georgia State covers this one easily. Just the difference in talent and the difference in how the teams are playing right now. I think Georgia State runs away with this one. Next game we got on the slate, I think will be a good one based off of recent games that have happened. We've got South Alabama at Coastal. South Al's on a 2-game winning streak. They won Thursday and Saturday. Coastal pulled their game on Saturday, and they're coming in off of a win. I don't think the records accurately reflect these two teams, but Coastal is a 1-point underdog at home. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, like you said, I was just looking over the stats, and, you know, South Alabama looks like they're kind of coming maybe a little bit into their own with the past 2 games, looking pretty solid. You know, they kind of hit a rough patch there for a little bit, losing some games they shouldn't have lost. Coastal, they did get that big win last Saturday, which was a good, strong win. The past few games outside of that just haven't been solid. I like South Alabama -1 here. I kind of feel like it's going to be kind of not necessarily a blowout, but I can see them sort of covering this with kind of ease if South Alabama plays South Alabama basketball, which we know, you know, is high tempo, you know, down your throat. Coastal, good team, average. Even though it's at home, I just don't see it for them. So I like South Alabama -1.
Yeah, you know, we just talked about Georgia Southern. Give Coastal credit. They went out at home and beat Georgia Southern by 21 points. And I think that game alone has a lot of effect on this spread, the line that we see on this game. I'm also taking South Alabama -1. I think that Saturday game for Coastal is really affecting this line. And I think if there's any blatant, like, okay, this spread just doesn't seem right, it's this game. South Alabama has a chance to climb up in our standings. They're currently sitting at 4th. According to the games behind, like win percentage calculations, they're a game and a half behind off the lead, and ahead of them are App State and Troy, right? And one of those teams is going to lose. So if they're able to win this game, they jump into the top 3. And I think when they see that and the promise of that conference tournament coming up, this is one that they need to win. And I think they're going to come in ready. We know Richie Riley is an energetic coach. You know, you've got, I don't know if he is the youngest, but you've got one of the youngest head coaches in our conference in Richie Riley facing up against the oldest coach in our conference, which is Frank Ellis. So that'll be fun to watch the sidelines nonetheless. But I agree with you, Jordan. I feel like this is one that South Alabama could run away with. They play fast, and Coastal is good, but I think there's more to play for the Jaguars in this one. All right, next one, we got our Louisiana rivalry, or rivalry in quotes, because it doesn't seem like ULM is close to us in any sport. But in this one, it could be a close one. We've got a 1.5 underdog at home for ULM. After this game on Thursday, it's going to flip, where the Cajuns are going to host the Warhawks on Saturday. Who do you think gets off to a hot start in this one, Jordan?
This is my game of the day, just because it's like you said, it's a Louisiana rivalry with these two teams in this conference. Louisiana coming off another tough loss, man. It's not looking good right now for the Cajuns, to say the least. They're just struggling and just not their season. Hopefully they can make a little run at the end. Hopefully they can do a little bit more in terms of execution and when actually winning these close games. We'll see. And ULM, for them, they've been playing solid basketball. They lost to Texas State their past game after they went on that 3-game winning streak. They are 1.5 point underdogs here. Both teams kind of sitting around the 500 area. ULM with 13 wins, 13 losses. Both are 5-8. ULM is 5-9 in conference. For some reason, Jacob, I just like UL here. I don't see them losing to ULM, and I could be dead wrong, right? Who knows how this game is going to turn out? Usually, UL, they've dominated this matchup when it comes to this basketball, but ULM could easily win this game with how UL is playing. But I like Louisiana to cover 1.5. I feel like they're going to go in with some sort of fire, knowing that the season is still alive. They're playing for more than just the game. They're playing for, their coach, the team, the city, the community, to kind of just rally around this team and, not give up in a sense. So I like UL here at -1.5. Hopefully they can get it done.
Yeah, I'm also taking the Cajuns -1.5. I feel like this is an opportunity for Louisiana to sort of go on a little winning streak. I think they take both games, Thursday and Saturday. I don't know what the spread will be for that Saturday game. We'll see and make our picks when that comes out. But I think Louisiana takes this one. I think they've been a victim of themselves. I think, they've been on a bad stretch of games as far as like record is concerned. But when you break down the majority of those games, it's come down to like the last 3 or 4 possessions. Right. And a lot of times it's them shooting themselves in the foot where they're turning over the ball or taking a bad shot or fouling an opposing player when they didn't need to be fouled necessarily. Right. I think it's less on them being beat by the opposition and them beating themselves. In this game in particular, I feel with the in-state rivalry, the motivation to get that monkey off their back, and win some games against competition that they know pretty well. Right, Monroe's not that far down the road. I'm sure they've have been prepping for this one. I think Louisiana takes it, and they play really strong this weekend, trying to close out the regular season before the conference tournament. Although I am taking Louisiana -1.5, I do want to give credit to how ULM has played over the past couple of games. A lot of people had kind of grouped them with Little Rock in that, hey, the season looks like it's going to be over. The players don't really look like they're playing for much, and they bounced back. They had some upset wins. They went on a little winning streak. They played tough. They lost to Texas State by 9 points on Saturday, but for the majority of the game, they were in it.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever they went down, they came back. Whenever they went down, they came back. And although they lost by 9, they've shown that they can play to the level of their opponents, even if they don't have the talent level to match up. So credit to their head coach, Keith Richard, and their staff. They're one of our followers on Twitter. Their basketball team account follows us on Twitter, so shout out to them. If I had to give a runner-up for game of the day, I would say this one. And I know you picked this as your game of the day. So I think it will be a fun one to watch. And it's really going to benchmark 2 teams that are in the lower third of our conference right now. One of them's moving up and one of them's staying where they are, moving down. And this is going to have a real effect on seeding when the conference tournament comes around. So next game we got is Little Rock at UT Arlington. Jordan, you bet against Little Rock last go around.
I,
How you
I don't
feeling?
think that I don't know if I've gotten a Little Rock game right. To be honest with you, I this team is my kryptonite. UTA as well. I don't really seem to get them right too often either. So maybe, hopefully, I can get this one right. Maybe, with my pick, I'm hoping that it makes sense. For me, it's Little Rock at +10, just with the way they played against Troy. I like that coming in. UTA had a great win against UL, double overtime. They seemed out of it going into the final seconds of the end of regulation. They were able to pull it out. 10 points is a lot here, though, and like I said earlier, usually I take points when it comes to this, and for this game, I like the points. I don't see Little Rock, if they play how at their potential and at their peak, which is what we saw last week, they can easily win this game too, in my opinion. Like, this isn't a game that is a stretch for Little Rock to win, which is why I'm taking them at +10.
Yeah, this is going to be the first pick where we disagree. I think over the past two, we've both been following the Sun Belt games really closely, and we've seen over the past 2 weeks, Little Rock comes out, I was going to say slow, but they just play bad on Thursday. They get blown out or beat bad on Thursdays. We saw that with their 33-point loss to South Al, but on Saturdays, they come out and they play hard, and it's a close one. It's either a close one or they pull out the win. So without even knowing the spread for Saturday's game, I'm going to take UTA -10 for this one. And I'm going to take Little Rock plus whatever on Saturday against Texas State. That's how I feel right now. I as far as statistics or basketball goes, UTA is playing at home. They're coming off of a solid double overtime win. They showed a lot of fight. They've got one of the best players in the conference in David Azori, and that dude's just a scorer. The dude scores. And I think that UTA's offensive prowess is going to pay off in this one, and they're going to be able to not only beat but cover a 10-point spread against Little Rock. I think it could be one of those games where, like, maybe UTA's up by 8, like closing in on the end of the game, and it just, Little Rock has to foul, and UTA ends up going up by 10, 11, 12 points, and that's just it, right? And then the losing team kind of dribbles the ball out and the game's over. I think it could go down like one of those, but this is one where either my record's going to improve or yours is. So I'm glad that we have a different pick in this one. Going into the last one, I feel like we might have a different pick for this one as well. What you got? Or what's the breakdown with these two?
The breakdown is pretty simple, in my opinion. Texas State has won their last 5 games and playing really good basketball right now. Arkansas State, they're not playing bad basketball, but they have lost their last 3 of 4, with coming off a 19-point loss against South Al. So to me, at home, Texas State kind of, in my opinion, Texas State is sort of playing the best basketball in the Sun Belt Conference right now. I mean, if you think about it, they're not number one.
Actually, they are. I just checked, Jordan. They're, according to win percentage, they are number 1 because they only have 3 losses.
Okay, so
it's like by, I think it's like by point. Yeah, they're at 0.727 at 8-3, and App State at 10-4 is at 0.714. So literally by 0.013 percentage points, which is wild. 0.013 percentage points. Texas State's in first right now.
Well, that is wild. And even though Texas State hasn't always covered these games that they've won, they still have been playing amazing basketball. Arkansas State, they started off hot. They started off good in conference, but lately they kind of been teeter-tottering to where, okay, what's their identity? What Arkansas State we're going to get this week? And I just have more confidence in Texas State. I feel like they can cover this spread. It is a decent amount of points, 5.5. They kind of play teams close, for the majority of it. But I kind of like what you said. I can see this being Texas State up by 4 points, and then Arkansas State having to foul, and then them making some free throws to cover the spread. So I like Texas State here. I feel like they are the number one team in the Sun Belt. They're playing like the number one team. And I just feel like they have all the momentum.
Yeah, I'm going to differ with you on this one. I'm going to take Arkansas State with the points at plus 5.5. I think somewhat of this line is an after effect of Arkansas State's this past week when they dropped both games. They played a really tight game with Troy. You and I both watched that one, and they weren't able to pull it off. Right? They had a chance to hit a three at the buzzer to win it, and it didn't go in. Right? And I think that loss really affected them going into South Alabama. I think they were drained physically going into that South Al game, a little demoralized because they had a shot at climbing up the table and like pushing at the Texas States and the App States in our conference, and losing that close game to Troy, I think demoralized them. And that's why we saw them get beat pretty handedly by South Alabama on Saturday. But in this game, I kind of have a different perspective. I know Texas State is the home team. I know that Texas State is coming into this game with a 5-game winning streak. Part of me thinks is like, okay, as the conference leader, there might be a little, I don't know what the word for it is, bad juju, some bad omens being up there. We've seen App State drop some games recently as the number one team. But when it comes down to it, I look at Texas State has Mason Harrell, their guard, who's a really good scorer, and Isaiah Small, who's very athletic, runs up and down the court, and they're solid. And then on Arkansas State, they've got Caleb Fields and Norchad Omier. And Norchad Omier is one of my, if not my favorite player in this conference to watch. This guy's getting second round NBA draft grades. Caleb Fields had a really poor 2-game stretch. It's probably the worst 2 games he played in his Sun Belt career this past week on Thursday and Saturday. I think coming into this game, they're fired up. They know that the conference tournament is coming up soon. They need to get a win. And I think that if they beat Texas State in this one, they'll go on and beat UTA. I think they have the capability to really get it going. And trying to think about the last time these two teams played. Let me pull it up real quick. Arkansas State won at home 67-60. I think these two teams play very different styles of basketball. We know how Arkansas State plays. They're fast. They like to push the ball into the corner, shoot quick threes, drive to the goal. They crash the boards offensively. Texas State, as we know, is a little more methodical. They definitely play more up-tempo than they have historically. However, you still see them dribble the ball less, make lots of cuts, take shots late in the shot clock. They're always trying to find the best shot available. But yeah, I'm taking the Red Wolves plus 5.5. I think as we get closer to this conference tournament, a lot of stuff is going to change. I don't think our standings right now are set in stone by any means. I'm interested to see who ends up on top. Yeah, I'm taking the Red Wolves plus 5.5. So our Saturday picks, Jordan, why don't you break these down?
Yeah, so
our Thursday picks. Ignore the Saturday. Sorry, these are our picks for Thursday. Why don't you break these down?
Yeah, so make it easy. The first 4 games, me and Jacob both agree. We both have Troy plus 4, Georgia State minus 9.5, South Al minus 1, UL minus 1.5, and then the last 2 we kind of defer. Jacob has UTA covering the spread at minus 10. I have Little Rock. I have them covering the spread at plus 10. In the last game, Jacob has Arkansas State at -5.5, and Texas State. For me, I have them covering at -5.5. Arkansas State, Jacob is covering at +5.5. So we only defer on 2 games. So those 2 games will really kind of separate us. I can see maybe it going 1-1 again, or who knows, maybe 2-0 for one of us. It's going to be a good week of games. I'm excited for it. I will not be here for Friday's podcast. I will be in Dallas. I was able to do this one today, fortunately, but I am definitely curious to see who comes out on top in these games, and I'll be keeping up with Jacob for sure.
No doubt. All right. Before we wrap up this one, Jordan, we're 2 weeks. So we got these games Thursday and Saturday. Then we got next week, Thursday and Saturday games. And that's it for the regular season. So knowing what the conference standings are right now, we've really got, I would say, to be fair to the teams at the top of our conference, we really have 4 contenders. I'll say 5. We've got 5 contenders really for the conference championship as far as regular season goes. If you had to make a prediction today of who's going to come out as our regular season champion, 4 games out, who would you say is going to take it?
Texas State. Just, I like the way they're playing. They're, according to you, they're actually at the top of the standings right now. And I feel like moving forward in their schedule, there's not really a team that, can scare them.
Right. I mean, they're playing Little Rock on Saturday, so.
Yeah. So I feel like this is their regular season to lose. And if I'm not mistaken, they were last season's regular season champions. Correct?
Yeah, they were. They won our regular season last year.
So we can be looking at back-to-back regular season titles for Texas State, and that's a big deal. I feel like they're playing the best basketball out of them all. App State is there, but they're kind of struggling. Troy, it might be a little bit that Little Rock game really hurt them. That really did hurt Troy, because I feel like that's going to come back and haunt them, because they can easily lose this by a game. This is Texas State's to lose. I like Texas State winning the regular season. I feel like they have the most momentum. They're playing the best basketball. They're on a 4 or 5 game winning streak. So yeah, I like Texas State.
Yeah, I'm gonna predict now, and some stuff definitely has to go in my favor for this to happen. But I think Troy ends up taking our regular season championship. We saw App State sit at the top of the conference for a while, and I think this game will tell me for sure whether or not that prediction will pay off. If Troy beats App State, I think it will legitimately come down to the final game of our regular season when Texas State visits Troy, not this Saturday, but next, right? The last game of the regular season for Texas State and Troy is against each other in Troy, Alabama. And I think it could honestly go down to that game, and whoever wins that one takes home the trophy. App State will still be up there. I just don't see them being able to string. They're going to have to win 3 of their next 4 to win it all, right? Texas State can't drop a game. They played less, right? At 8-3, they can't drop a game because App State's right there at 10-4. When I look at Troy, they're at 8-4, right? Same wins as Texas State, but if they're able to win 4 games in a row, which I think is certainly possible, I think they take it. But going down to the wire, I think it's going to really come down to next Saturday's game, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. I have a lot of respect for Scott Cross, Troy's head coach, and for him, after what happened with him at UT Arlington, I'd like to see him win with Troy. So I might be a little biased coming from that perspective, but I'd like to see him go to a different Sun Belt team and win a conference championship with them, just to show his alma mater's athletic director probably shouldn't have fired me, bro. You know?
Yeah, that would be a good statement.
And before we end it off, college baseball season is kicking it off this weekend.
Friday.
We're going to be, I'll be reporting. Maybe we'll be able to get a guest picker in here to fill in for Jordan's spot, and act as his proxy, or even make their own picks. But Friday night kicks off the college baseball season. We got the Cajuns opening up at home against number 20 UC Irvine. Should be a really fun weekend across the country, with college baseball starting, and we've got a pretty good team. All things we've heard about Louisiana baseball has been good. Looking forward to that. With the MLB being on lockout, maybe we'll see more college baseball on TV. Maybe I'll actually get into it, Jordan. I'm a big MLB guy, but college baseball has never really been my thing. But maybe this is the year where I really follow it closely.
Yeah, man, it's an exciting time for those, who want to watch. It's going to be on a lot of different platforms. ESPN Plus is a big one for these sort of games. ACC Network, which is an affiliate with ESPN Plus. Yeah, I'm excited for Cajun baseball, man. It's one of my favorite times of the year. When I was in college, I would go almost every weekend to the games that were home. So this is a very exciting time. I'm very curious to see how we play. This opening weekend is going to be a very good test. We have a good UC Irvine team out from California. Hopefully the Cajuns can show them what true Louisiana baseball is all about. And they leave Russo Park with a memory
win.
Yeah, with a memory of, damn, Cajun baseball is legit. So I'm hoping that they can get a series win. It'll be very good. I'm hoping for a 2-1 series win realistically. And I feel like they can do it. Like you said, we have a good team this year, and I'm excited to follow them throughout. We'll definitely be keeping everybody updated with how Sunbelt baseball is going. It should be good. And unlike Sunbelt basketball, we are a multi-bid league in baseball, and that's what makes it very exciting. So looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah. Again, guys, thank y'all for watching. Be sure to click the like button on this video, subscribe to our channel, and give us a follow on Twitter. Our handle is @SunnyInTheBelt_. Thanks again for joining us. Jordan.
Yeah, guys, like I said, I'm not going to be here Friday, but I know Jacob will hold down the fort, and I'll make sure I can maybe even send him a text with my picks for Saturday. And
Please do, so we can keep up with the standings.
Yeah, so we can keep up with the standings for sure. I'll definitely do that. But yeah, looking forward to the games tomorrow. I'll do my best to watch them. I'll be in Dallas, but I should be able to keep up with it. And for me, yeah, that's it. I'm excited for baseball season as well.
Cool deal. Thank y'all. Have a good night.